Well, today's D-Day for the fish. Things didn't go exactly as planned. We got like early ice and then it got cloudy, and Kevin from Modern Self-Reliance told me there's some fish that are not doing so well. I think it's mostly because the water quality got really bad because it got so cloudy. I think the aerator stopped and just a smorgasbord of problems. If you can see that there's a fish. I cannot break it with my own fist. One just swam away from here?
Yeah, I just saw him
Well,
under the ice.
at least we have one live fish. I wanted to get a gill net in here and my order didn't come in on time and it's just getting worse and worse. So we're gonna try something a little bit different from what you might expect as far as getting the fish out. I don't know if this is gonna work. It's a little bit of an experiment. It's kind of off the cuff thing. It's not enough ice that I can go jump on an ice fish. So we're gonna try to do our best to take all of the fish out. We do not want to leave them in here because, as you can see, it's a problem for the survivability of the fish over winter. This is from the dugout dude, but you hear it running now because it just, no, and it stopped again. It barely has enough sun to work. We've been feeding the fish, but the fish haven't been coming up anymore to feed. So I don't know if there are that many left or they're struggling to get oxygen and all the other requirements, but as soon as this fish stop eating, it's pretty much time to harvest them anyway.
Two scoops of raisins in there. I threw that in yesterday, and I don't know if they've been eaten, but I actually saw one just under the ice. Like, I wasn't no word of a lie. There was a shadow under the ice, swimming this way. So they're tired or lethargic. I don't know. You gotta need a psychotherapist in here to talk to the fish, see what's wrong. I don't know. It's time.
Let's see if we can harvest our first fish. Well, maybe our 11th fish, but our first fish today from the pond.
You gonna touch that?
Well, that's the question. It's white, but you would presume it's not like rotting.
Well, it's preserved.
Well, that's the question: is do you eat this fish? It doesn't smell bad. It looks terrible though, doesn't it?
It looks terrible. It's a whitefish. Yeah, but it's just like it's been sub-zero.
Well, that's the question, right? Like if it's like 5 degrees, but how long has it been here for, right? Like if you put a fish in the fridge, you probably only want to leave it there for like 3 days. Like it smells perfect. Maybe I'll feed this one to guests. I don't know if you guys, I told you this story before, but my wife hates having worms in the fridge because, you know, they take up too much space, although she likes having the fish I catch in the fridge, but doesn't like paying the price of having like a couple of worms in there. And then she got really mad at me, and I said, listen, if you argue with me one more time about having 3 dozen worms in the fridge, I'm going to double the amount of worms that are in the fridge. Well, one time she slipped up and actually forgot, and true to my word, I doubled up the number of worms in the fridge. So there's a little bit of a red pill lesson there. This isn't just a survival channel, it's also a relationship builder channel. So there's a tip there, guys. If you get heckled by your wife about things that you shouldn't be heckled about, double down. But obviously make sure that when you're doubling down that you have a right to double down. Like, I don't want you guys to be doing you know, bad things and then doubling down on those. Just getting the camera set up here. She's a little bit crooked. We're gonna find out if we can catch a fish out of here. Because they're obviously not eating the feed. I don't know if they just don't want to come up for the feed or what. Oh, I see a fish right there. I'd say that's not a healthy fish though if it's sitting right there. It's like, it's literally right here. I should have brought my bow fishing. Oh, see him go? That's not a good sign when those fish are coming up shallow like that. Of course, we don't know how many fish are left, or we know there's one fish. I could see one fish, so that we know there's at least one fish left. But if they're all dead and sitting on the bottom, we would honestly never know. Well, I don't think they're gonna bite. I really don't. Let's leave a worm on bottom here and see what happens. There we go. See if we can harvest one more fish, maybe 1 or 2 more. I did see a couple other ones. Oh, it's thick enough here. Like, these are probably good enough to eat. I don't know, what do you guys think? Like, the water's obviously freezer temps. Smells fine. I guess it just depends on how hungry you are. You guys know about the Bass Pro Shops? food plot over here has been doing pretty good. Actually have a rabbit, a cottontail rabbit coming in, and he's eating all the tips here, but the frost is kind of killing it off now. He's made a pretty good dent over here. You can see all the feed pattern here, but all this is all kind of mowed down. So it's been a good addition to the property. Been impressed by, oh, a fish just swam off there. There's either 1 or 2 fish. So it's weird, the fish are coming up shallow for some reason. Do you guys have any ideas why? I don't know what this is gonna do, but if a fish comes in shallow, now I'm thinking of it, I could use a net. Anything goes when you own your own pond. Like I was right here and it swam up right there.
That's what I saw. I just saw it swimming right by it.
So they're not in feeding mode if there's all that feed there and they don't touch it. The first clue is when they stop feeding. Well, can't catch a fish. I tried.
It's my bout of confidence right here.
I saw 2 swim in shallow while I was fishing. So I think they're not gonna, if there's not enough oxygen in there, they're not gonna be like, oh, I'm hungry. They're gonna be like, oh, I can't breathe.
Okay.
So my guess is like we're gonna have to move on to phase 2 here.
Which is pump the pond.
Well, I don't have the gill net. I can't catch a fish. I could probably, I did clear the ice out here with the net. So if one comes shallow, I can scoop it up, which I didn't think about the first time around when I just like trying to poke it with the hook. So I can scoop one up. I didn't bring my bow fishing stuff because they weren't surfacing, so I couldn't shoot them. I could grab my spear, but I didn't
make a spear.
Well, I don't know.
Well, if you pump it down far enough, you'll be able to see them.
Well, if we pump it down far enough, we could just grab them with our bare hands.
I want to see you slide down the mud and to grab a fish.
Well, we'll drain it enough. We'll send Frankie in there.
Well, Don's getting he's bringing the pump from Princess Auto, the transfer pump.
Okay.
It'll pump it down real quick. So
good. So how long? Like a couple hours?
I don't know. It's pretty like that top foot's a lot of water and it's gone already. So
yep.
It'll do like 7,000 gallons an hour. Frankie's gonna grab a fish and run. That means you have to run after Frankie.
Frankie, leave it. No, leave it. Hey, get. Go on. Frankie.
It's right before she grabs it.
Hey. She knows I'm boss still. Go on, leave it. If you cut it open and the meat still has.
You should do like sushi. Really want to risk it?
No, I don't want to do that. Get the big guns.
Suction hose and one outlet hose. I got another one to come, plus pump, of course.
So this is Don from Modern Self-Reliance.
Hello.
A star of Kevin's channel.
Yeah.
More than mine. Occasional guest appearance. Eating some coyote. What did we eat last time?
Venison.
Something normal.
That was really good.
It was really good. Yeah, you guys should check that video out. But this is the last resort here. We're always planning on catching fish, but they're not biting.
Not biting?
They're not coming up. They're lethargic and they're swimming up around the edges, so I cleared some ice out to try to net them.
Yeah.
But since doing that, they kind of scattered.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, and then we called Don and he's got the, what's it called, a thrash pump? Or
trash
pump?
Trash pump, yeah.
It's actually trash.
I think it's like I'm not sure if it's 1.5 or 2 inch diameter trash pump. So
pretty good amount of water coming out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the gallons per minute would be, but it's pretty high.
We'll see how long it takes, but we're planning to drain it enough that we can take all the fish
out. Yeah.
That's it. We're just under the ice.
Yeah.
Frozen, like shallow. So I don't know if we empty it, we might find some at the bottom. Hopefully not, but
you'd think they would have floated up by now.
Yeah, but they not necessarily blowed up, and if there's not enough heat, they won't sink. Right?
Yeah,
they'll just sit on the bottom.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm curious to see how many fish we get out of the pond and how many left.
It'd be interesting how many are
right, because we put 60 in, we took about 15 out right away because it got too warm, and then there's 4 dead, 3 or 4 dead today, 3 dead. 2 died right away, so that's 5. So there should be 30 or 40 fish left.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's that many. You guys can put your guesses down below right now on how many you think we're going to get.
Summered well, I guess.
Yep, up until now. They don't smell bad, so they might, I don't know. You want to risk eating one.
Yeah.
A white fish. But I don't know if we can empty this right to the bottom or not. We'll see. There he is, right there. I see him. Oh, he spooked him. Man, he spooked good.
Maybe you should camp right there. I don't know if it was on camera. It was in like the shadow of the tree, so you might have seen it. Did you bring a hose? hose down?
I brought the suction hose, yeah.
And one of the blue ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I'm losing a blue hose. You want to grab this, Chris?
Is it heavy?
Yes.
Then no.
It's not terribly heavy.
Can you lift it with one hand?
No, I can lift it with 1.5 because one of my arms doesn't like me right now. Oh. See, ideally, we can punch a hole in the middle and let the ice float us our suction. Same place twice. There we go. Okay. My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, son.
Buns.
Buns. That's funny. Don's fighting with it. Here, want me to try? We want to go straight back that way.
This way?
Like straight that way.
All right, so what's the plan? Princess Auto pump. This is a what, 2-inch?
2-inch transfer pump, and it's going to pump lots and lots and lots of water very, very, very quickly.
How much water quickly?
Oh, it says right on the side, I don't know exactly, where is it? 9,480 gallons an hour.
Just because I'm asking because I would rather fish them out rather than just watch water drain. It's kind of like watching paint dry.
Well, I don't know, this thing's this is crazy.
So how long is it going to take?
I don't know, like it's 10,000 gallons an hour. How many hours? Like Don did the math at one time.
So
Remember it was like,
50
do you think it's 50,000 gallons?
So it was like 5 hours.
Well, no, but we got 2 feet of missing water, which is like the most of the water. We got like the bottom of the cone.
All right, well, we'll see.
It should go
So 2 or 3 hours?
Well, I hope not.
An hour?
Well, an hour there'll be a substantial difference in an hour.
All right, we'll see. Place your bets, everybody.
Adding some water to the pump to prime it, because the suction hose, ideally, it's full of water. It's not super critical. I've done this before. As long as you get enough in that little thing, it starts up pretty good. So
All day?
All day. You're less optimistic than Kevin. I was saying a few hours, at least 3 hours.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
8 hours?
10,000 gallons an hour.
Twisted it. There it goes.
Wow, there's a lot of water coming out of there. Maybe I should revise my estimate.
You want to be a firefighter?
No, not in this weather. I'm gonna revise my estimate to 7.5 hours.
Well, as fast as that water's coming out, I think it's gonna be a while before we see the bottom of that pond.
Water line's right here. Set the timer.
Might have taken off. Big ash tree here was dead anyway, and I don't think we got any fish. It didn't really land in the pond. It landed on the edge, but there was a fish hanging out over in the shallows every once in a while. Might have got that guy. I'm only seeing one fish up in the shallows, and it's got like a color discoloration. It's like half white and half kind of brown, the proper color. And it was over there. But I found, I think, 5 total dead fish so far, like around the shallows. We're betting how many fish we're gonna find in the bottom. I say less than 10. Kevin says about 10, and Don figures 20. Is that 20? No, he's not gonna do 20. What are you gonna say, Don? Throw a number out there.
11.
11. He's doing the split. I'll do $1, Bob.
It was danger. Look at the crack down the center. It's been staring at me while I'm sitting in my tub for a while now.
Oh, it's out of the way.
It's an ash. They're all dead.
I don't think you're gonna be able to drag it out of here though.
Shh.
The tractor's too puny.
Well, hey, don't make fun of my tractor.
All right, turn the pump on. I'm hungry.
All right.
We're gonna eat rotten fish. That's all we got so far. I got my polarized lenses too. There was other ones?
There was 3 in a clump.
Here?
Is that your secret weapon?
Yeah.
You'll be able to see.
Well, it'd help if there was some sun out. I don't know, might be able to see better. Take the shine off. I also brought my secret Amish spear. So it's attacking me right now.
Looks like a trident.
It's an ice spear. You make an ice hole and then you drop it down. It also works as a throwing spear too. Because I dropped it so many times into rocks, it's made it all bent, so now it's kind of... I got like 3 prongs in there and it's just wedged.
You should hit it with a stick.
There you go. Made you what?
It made me bleed one time.
Well, it's sharp. Well, it used to be sharp. Sharp enough. It's better than the net. I don't understand. I put the net like right where it, and there's getting underneath it. Well, instead of making you guys just listen to that annoying pump run the entire time, I thought it would be a good idea to narrate over this. Spearing fish is a learned skill, and it takes a little bit of patience and time. It's not like the fish were always up around the surface, so I had to continuously walk around the pond to get my opportunities here. Now this spear is a Amish design. It's meant for underwater or spearfishing through the ice. So you would do it for like pike fishing or carp or something like that. So it's not really meant to be thrown, and so it's not balanced like that. It's more balanced to just drop it. So it cuts through the water column very fast. It is quite heavy, but throwing it like a javelin in between all the ice blocks was not the easiest thing in the world, because I kind of had to dodge the ice, and then also you want to toss it at the fish perpendicular rather than parallel, because that way you're going to get the broadest stroke. I don't know if you guys are seeing any of these fish here, but they are there. And as the water levels go down, this is pumping at about 7 to 10,000 gallons per hour. And I'll do a time lapse of it dropping down near the end here, because I think it's kind of neat to see how fast it drops in over time lapse. But it did take us 2 days. There's a fish right here. Can you guys see it? And we got it. Oh! Oh! Well, to be honest, when you spear fish like that, it really makes me feel like Tom Hanks in Castaway, because it's a huge challenge. I can't imagine trying to spear any kind of fish with a sharpened stick point. I really don't think it would work all that well. I've seen primitive setups with bow fishing where they'll have a sharpened arrow, and I'm not really sure if they use stone tip or it was fire hardened, but I can tell you it's pretty difficult to pierce the skin of a fish from any kind of distance or any kind of spear point. I've tried with bone, and it just doesn't penetrate the same way you think it would. Although I think there's some merit to using like a stone kind of jagged tip that might have a little bit of bite to it. But I definitely would want to try that. Once we get this pond set back up again, we'll try again. Once we get this pond set up, I'm sure I'll try again, test out some primitive stuff, because you know, when they're their fish, you can do whatever you want with them. Here's a good shot of spearing a fish, and you know, when they're that close, it's a lot easier. So after the fish are caught, I just bleed them out. I got enough rope? Here, yeah. Pull my rope out. Is that enough? Oh, I got it. I think so. I'm Castaway now. Smoked them. So I can't imagine how hard it'd be to spear fish with primitive tools sitting at the bank. Although, you know, on salmon runs and things like that, which is probably when they would have most commonly done this, or carp, shallow carp, or sucker fishing when they're all coming into spawn. I think there probably would have been a mixture of like spearing things and also just like hand bombing stuff, because you see, like, once the water levels get down, I'm just trying to pick over the fish that are actually still alive versus the ones that had been dead for a while. And yeah, the pond suffered quite a bit. Just we made a couple mistakes and the season kind of snuck up on us. But the main idea was just like to get it going and then figure out where the deficits were. And a lot of people made comments about how we should probably switch it to a catfish pond or panfish like crappie or something like that, or bass, who maybe wouldn't mind the mess so much with the silt. I still think the objective is to still have clear, cool water, because then you can put any fish species in there. And if in the worst case scenario, if we can't get this fixed, although I'm confident that we can, then we can always switch over to any of those species. So, as the water levels are coming down, we're finding the old ones, the spawned out ones. And I'll have plans for these. I won't let these go to waste. I'll feed them back into nature. And there's the picture of all the bags. So these are the ones that didn't make it. So it's a pretty sizable bag there. And here's a time lapse. So this is over the course of 2 days. And so I think it was in total about 6 or 7 hours. So that gives you an idea how many gallons of water this pond holds. About somewhere between 50 and 70,000 gallons. And we do have some plans to add maybe a few tens of thousands more gallons, and then obviously fix the substrate quite a bit. So a couple of replays here. So it's always neat to see that pond drained out and see what's down at the bottom.
Well, it's not all we got. We got a little bit more than that. Not much more than that.
I'm going to do it pretty straightforward. I'm going to do some butter. We're going to do some shaved butter. I guess we're going to do shaved. It's so cold out here that it's hard as a rock. In case you guys don't want to watch me do this, I'll put that for now. But I'm just doing butter with adobo. So this won't take very long. We might add a little bit more butter on there, but we're not going to overcook it. We're just going to cook it lightly. I don't know. We'll sit down. I'll get all the fish collected. I'll show you the fish we managed to keep and the fish that we lost through the pond. The pond was doing really good up until like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we had some warning signs, like the fish stopped eating and we didn't know if the fish disappeared. Turns out the fish didn't disappear, but we are going to get to the bottom of it. Once we get our fish cooked, we'll sit down and have a chat.
Did you already put maple syrup on it?
Yep.
Oh, so we don't have to. Yeah?
You could put more on it if you want.
No, I think that's probably good.
That shows it there. You guys can see.
Just smells good.
Just like a mess of fish. That's your side.
This is the well done
That's
side.
more cooked than my side, but I don't care. It's just straight up adobo butter. Might be some bones in there.
Oh. I'm always scared of eating a bone.
Always a possibility. Well, I was just saying on Kevin's channel that we learned lots of lessons this year. Had I been more on top of everything, I wasn't hunting, and it wasn't early season for ice over. It's good, as long as it flakes apart too. Dunk it in there, and the juices. It would have unfolded perfectly. We would have had 20 fish. Instead, we ended up with 5. We probably lost 2 or 3 overnight because it took longer to pump out than we thought. The ice was in the way, so that didn't help us recovering them. So we probably could have salvaged maybe 10 fish out of the 20 we had left. So we probably went missing about 10 or 15 that other animals picked up that weren't in the pond, and there weren't a lot left over, which goes without saying. We harvested 10 or 15 at the beginning before the summer, and ultimately I think what got us was the aerator stopped working. The water levels are pretty low this year, but once it iced over and it got cloudy, the pump would only work for maybe an hour a day.
Yep.
Over a 24-hour cycle, which is not nearly enough to keep 20, 30 fish alive in such a small area. The water quality is not great in there, but it's not what killed the fish, because they just recently died. So all in all, like, we can make it a little deeper, we can fix the silt, we can make sure we have backup power for aeration, would be some of the keys, and then obviously take the fish out earlier. And we could also go with like fewer fish, but I think the number of fish that we had in there was good for the water for the water volume. Oh, I don't know if you have any thoughts.
It's pretty good. I was told it was going to taste like mud.
Well, it was a mud pond, but no, it doesn't taste like mud.
Well, that's what I was just listening to the comments, and they said your fish are going to taste like mud. These actually fish are delicious. Yeah, really, winter snuck up on us, and old man winter is relentless.
I'll put those fish to good use. I'll freeze them and I'll use them for coyote bait or something else. So I'll send them back into nature.
They work really good in the garden.
Could do that too.
Carp are really good in the garden.
All we did was take the feed bag of trout feed, put it into the trout, and we're gonna take the trout and put them in. Anyway,
Yeah.
cycle of life.
Cycle.
Cycle of life.
Circle of
Circle of
life.
life. It doesn't really matter. It's all the same.
It's pretty good.
All right. Well, I'll catch you guys on the next one.